Hi guys, in this video, I'll be explaining how you can implement address autocomplete features like this with the help of Mapbox's Places API. This video will be the sixth part of my Geoverse series where I will be explaining and integrating geolocation features in React Native. So in the third part of this series, I would have done the same thing with the help of an external library called React Native Google Places Autocomplete, where we would have done the same thing that I'm going to discuss in this particular video. That would be an external library, but how you can do it custom way where you can customize it heavily for your own needs, and I would recommend to do it in the same way all the time. So let's get into it. For this video we'll be discussing two things. One is we'll be just simply integrating the autocomplete features by making the stylings, and then we'll be using the auto like a text input and then rendering the elements or the places by calling the Mapbox's Places API, and then showcasing it as a list. And when the user taps on it, we will be making the map to zoom into that particular place's coordinates. Okay. And the second part of the video, I will be discussing how you can, what I would say, like implement the best optimized way by implementing debouncing, which is extremely well-known JavaScript interview question, and then how you can use stack query to cache the values in them. Okay, cache the values when you are calling an external API like the Mapboxes one. Okay, so let's start. So before this, before integrating this, what you have to do is please go to the my previous video on integrating Mapbox inside your React Native application for both Android and iOS, and then get the API key from your Mapboxes in your dashboard. Okay, so once you have done all those things, let's get into the code. So as you can see here in the previous video, I made the zoom to user location, and then I just put it down at the bottom here. And then we are going to have the the text input at the top. Okay. So this is the component that we are going to work in this particular video. So let's tap on that and let's put that out. So I already made some boilerplate code here, but still I will do it from scratch now so that you guys will understand. Okay, so here what I have done, I have provided an input like input state, and then for the suggestions or the places I have initialized it as a normal what I would say like empty array. This is a debounce call that is advanced, so I'm just going to comment it, and then I'm just going to have this as let's uncomment this, and then let's have it in this manner. Okay, so in this one, in the map container, what I have done, so if I go here, I have used the top of 40. I'm going to use it as 50, and then so that it aligns with this thing. So let's use 45. So once that is done, it should be aligned with this compass. So I have and I'm going to use I have used absolute to position it at the top, like how other apps do. And then I have used a text input where I have styled it in this manner: height, border, with border color, and all those things. The same way with and the font family. Okay. Once that is done, once we call the external API, right? So for getting the external API, what you can do is you can go here, and then in this way, like you already have, you have to go to the Geocoding V5, but Mapbox has also introduced V6, which is far superior than what we are going to do now. I'm going to discuss that as well at the end of this video. Okay, so in the Geocoding V5 API, we are going to use the Mapbox.places route, and then we are going to pass our the autocomplete features to them. Okay, and then we will also be discussing all these things like how we can customize it heavily in the API endpoints. Like we are going to use this one and then use the Mapbox.places and the search text, right? So that is for the API calling. Let's first focus on the front end part. Once we get that, once we have done this, and then this would be the the way where we would be rendering all those elements. So for this, I have used touchable opacity. I'm just going to convert to pressable because I like pressable more than that. For the suggestion items, if I go here, you can see this is the code record for that. Same way, I'm going to go here and then change it to this. Okay, so that it aligns with the text inputs with. Now everything is set. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type something. Okay, I'm going to type. I'm going to type. I think let's zoom in. Okay, so zoom into this region. So we have milpitas, right? So let's search that milpitas. So nothing will happen because we have not connected it to any API, etc. Milpitas. Now I'm going to go to this Mapbox autocomplete. So when the user starts typing, right, we are going to change the, because it's a controlled input. It's not an uncontrolled input. It's a controlled input where when the user types, you are going to change the state with the help of this value. Okay. So what is going to happen? Nothing is going to happen because we are not doing anything. So we are going to call the backend API for this. For this, we are going to use fetch suggestions function, which is, you can name it anything. And then in there, as I said, we are going to use the v5 mapbox.places, and then we are going to encode that one so that it works properly. What we are going to do is we are going to encode the text or whatever we are typing in the input, and then we are going to send it. So this is not a problem. We can just copy and paste it there. So when the user starts typing Milpitas, right, or San Jose or whatever, we are going to call the backend API. For that, as I said, you need to have the access token or the API key, and then you should have autocomplete is to true. The same way, you go here and then search autocomplete. You can see Boolean is to true. Autocomplete results. When autocomplete is enabled, results will include the start with the, like all these things would be there. Okay. So why they have, Indiana and all these things are there, right? And then the next one would be, if I go here, limit. So I'm going to limit it to 5 because I don't want more. And then for the countries. So for now, I don't need to search in other countries, right? I just want it to be only USA, right? So in these countries, just use USA, right? Now, what I'm going to do, once that is in USA, that's it, right? So I'm going to call this API. So I'm going to go here. Let's type Milpitas is already there. I'm going to call this. So await fetch suggestions of E. Okay. So this returns this feature. So this dot response dot data dot features. So fetch suggestions. So const places. Sorry, it should be places equal to set places. Sorry, so set suggestions of places. Okay. Let's do that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go here and then search. Okay, let's let's comment this out. Okay, so I'll show why, I'll let you know why I'm doing that. I'm going to comment this also. So let's simply search Santa Clara, right? Santa Clara, right? Santa Clara. I'll just use it in this way and then do this. And then I'm going to go to the console as well. I'm going to search A. So if I do that, you can see it is automatically rendering down. Okay. So what I am doing, how you can do it as well. So in the response, right? So if I go here in the response, what is happening? Response.data. So that is, I'm getting it as 2. So that's how I log, and then that's how I debug. So in here, and you can ignore all these things. Main thing we are focusing is the features. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use it as features and then save it. Okay, so others are unnecessary. So I'm going to go here, Santa Carla. Okay, if I scroll down, you see so many data points are there. BB box, which is the bounding box, and then geometry and all those things. So we get the array of features or array of places in this manner, and then we are going to append or like add it to the state, or we are going to update the state. Once we update the particular state, we are going to show the place name, which is this. So let's copy this. If you still want to check place name, so in the features we have it is an array, and then in that we have the place name, BB box, center, geometry, and all those things. So in the features we are going to render the place name to the front end. That's what we have done here. So let's style it better. I don't like the style, so I'm going to go here and use sorry, not in the suggestion item. So it should be here. So style of what, font family of pangram regular. Okay, so once we have done that, it should look very nice like this. And then let's improve the padding, so to 15. So it looks better now. Okay, now that's it. Actually, that's it. That's how you can implement autocomplete. Okay, so what you do, you go here, you use this particular API, exact API call with Axios or fetch or etc. And then you call the backend, get all the places like in this manner, and then render out the place, and then you show it to the user. So one more React Native concept that I want to knock out here is when the user taps on it, what we can do. Okay. So when the user taps on it, we are going to get the, what is it, latitude and the longitude of that particular place. Okay. So I'm going to do two things here, which is React Native relevant, and then I'm going to move forward to JavaScript concepts. And I'm also going to discuss about the V6. So when the user taps on that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom into that particular location. So I'm going to copy this and then replace. These are all unnecessary. So I'm going to take all this out and then animate to place. Okay, I'm going to call it as animate to place. Remove all these things. And then I'm going to use it as 9. And then this should be what? This should be longitude and this should be latitude. Okay, so I'm going to remove this unnecessary thing. So I'm going to take this out. And I'm going to pass this inside this particular component as a child. Okay, children prop. I'm going to use this here. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply call it here in this manner. So I'm going to use this format. First one is this lat. And then next one is longitude. Sorry, I think, okay, so this is lat, right? So this should be at the first because Mapbox uses longitude as first one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tap on Santa Clara. Okay, so it zooms out, so that is not correct. So it should zoom in more. So what you can do, let's scroll down. This animate to geolocation, sorry, animate to place. Sorry. Here what you do, you use it as 13. Let's do that. Let's do that. You can see it animates there. That's how you can implement plethora of features like this. I'm going to do one more where I'll be using the same zoom to user location where I will be what I would say, drawing the directions as well. Okay. To do that, simply I'm going to copy these things. Okay. So from the user's location, so I'm just simply, let's take this out and then let's replace these things here. And okay, actually no need to do all those things. Just take the animate to, I think it should be, okay, let's clone this out and then use the same code, animate to places and draw routes. Okay. If we do that, and then in this sector, we get the longitude and latitude, and then we replace that with here. Okay. If we do that, and then let's take, we use it to 10. Once we do that, and change this simply like this. Okay. Now see the power of React, how we can reuse it. We can optimize this any way we want, but this is just for, as I said, it's demo purposes. So now if I tap on this, you can see from my actually let's see this is how we debug. Okay, here in this manner it should be fetch directions of longitude and latitude. So this is not working, right? So set longitude and animate to draw. All these things are there. Let's comment out all these things. So let's just search this. Okay, this is working or not. Animate to draw, animate to place, and all these things. So Mapbox autocomplete here. Okay, I think it's not working. We'll see why. Send fetch direction. Oh, okay. Okay, see, right? This is wrong. This should not be this way. So now it should be comma. Okay, that's how you nobody has bug free cap. So now if I tap on this, you can see automatically the directions are there. Okay, right. So I did a lot of things here. One, I'm going to move into that particular place, like the user's location or the place's location. So okay, so this is wrong. Okay, this should not be this info dot. This should be this only. So let's take this here and change it to 12 because we are not going to move into the user's location. We are going to move into the place's location. So once I tap on that, from here to here, this is 2 inside. So I'm going to use this. Yeah, you can see, right? From my location to that location. Let's take, I'm going to tap on this. Let's see. This one. It works. Okay. So that's how you implement addresses autocomplete. And then when the user taps on that, you move automatically to that places location. And then you can also draw routes on it. So to understand what these things are, please view my previous video on the same concept. Okay. So for the final React Native stuff, for the React Native and Mapbox stuff, is like we will be moving this API to V6. Let's go to the latest Geocoding API one. What they are saying, Geocoding from Snowflake and all these things are not required. So here, Geocode V6 forward Q equal to text. So let's see what that is. So I'm going to comment this out. Okay, for future purposes and comment this out. They're saying V6 and then forward. Okay, forward. What is this? Forward equal to. Okay. So equal to, this should be what text. Search, no just on nothing. Okay, so let's keep it as text only, nothing. Okay. Once we do that, let's see other parameters. Q equal to, okay, they're saying forward in this fashion. This is a query param. Forward and this one, Q equal to. Okay, so in this way, API key is access token is sent via that route. So same, others are same. Limit. Let's test it. Okay, so Santa Clara. Okay, it's not working. Why? Let's see, 404 it's not found. Okay, so 404 not found means it's not there. API Mapbox geocode of forward. API Mapbox geocode of forward. Okay, so sorry. It should be searched as geocode. Okay, and then now you use Santa Clara and then it automatically comes, but the values are not there. Why? We can do the same thing. Scroll down, see what is the response. So if I scroll down here, in this one, features, it is in the array, geometry, properties. I think it should be in the features, properties, features of properties.name. Okay, so we are going to do the same thing here. They also have street name and all these things. But for now, we are going to use properties.name. So this is a trick that we can use here. If this is there, use this. If it's not there, use item.properties.name. I think name. Okay. So if I go here, you can see it's there. Okay. But I don't like that. So I'm going to go down and then we need a formatting address. This is not acceptable. So we'll use context address, street name. I think V1 is for like V5 is way better than this. Okay, it provides all the required things. I think we have to club all these things together. That's what I think. So yeah, I think full address. Okay, you can say full address. Where is this full address? Okay, full address. Okay, so full formatted string of the combining name. Okay, so I'm going to use full property max ID name. This is the response. So features. Let's go here. Access token attribution. This is a response object. So in this way, let's scroll up and get that permanent access token latitude, longitude, world view. That's not one. Here they don't have that. Place formatted. This is for this only, right? Place formatted. Properties dot place formatted. Okay, let's search. Let's do that. Place formatted. Still it's not. I don't like this. So I'm just going to revert back to that. I think we have to combine both all the values together. So let's try. Okay, full address, feature types, neighborhood, Santa Clara 101. No, I don't like this. So I'm just going to revert back. But that's how you test it. Like you test this and that, and then you find which is better for you. Okay. So as I like that, I'm going to go back Santa Clara. Okay. So I like this way better. Okay, and the last one would be like once you tap on that, the suggestions should be gone. So what you do, you use go here, set suggestions of this, and then you can do one more where you can change the set. What is this? Set input, right? So set input of nothing. So every string, you can do that. Okay, so I'm just not going to do that now to save API calls. So I'm going to go here. Let's take I tap on this. Okay, it went to I think Spain. So that API is wrong. So we have to go here and then I think it should not be countries. It should be country, right? In this one, proximity, worldview, language, first the country. So it's not countries, it should be country. And then if we go here, now I'll go here, Santa Clara, right? So Santa Clara, only USA. So if I tap on that, it automatically moves there. Okay, so that's how you make all these things work together. And then now this concludes all the Mapbox related concepts. So from now, it's going to be out and out JavaScript concept, where I will be discussing what is debounce, throttling, and then how it works with vanilla JavaScript, and then how you can translate it to React.js and implement an important feature where when the state changes, the function shouldn't re-render multiple times, so that the debounce stuff, it doesn't work at all. Okay, it is counterproductive. Okay, so let's jump into that. And then, okay, actually, I forgot to do one thing. I wanted to also discuss how you can use React Query to achieve this, right? So, what I'm going to do is let's do that and then jump into what I would say, like the debounce or JavaScript concepts. So, here in this way, in this one, I already have done that particular stuff here. So, I'm going to go copy this and then I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to explain what this is and how you can implement this as well. So this uses React Native TanStack query. Sorry, TanStack query or React query, which is an excellent library which I use in all my applications for superior caching and blazing fast applications. Before this, I just simply used useEffect and Redux for global state management. It was faster, but I was not satisfied with those things, and then I didn't like it. But I wanted to go up and above, and then I decided to do it. So I researched about it, and then I came into the use of React Native, like TanStack query. Okay, with the help of this, we can achieve very fast cache, like very fast API responses by caching it in the local after the first API call and all those things. Okay, so for this to work, you have to first install the library called React Native, like TanStack React query, and then I have made a video in X or Twitter where I discuss how you can combine TanStack query with React Native MMKV for blazing fast local first applications. Okay, so for that to work, first one is let's go to app.js. Once you install this particular library, right? So what is this here? So once you install this particular library, TanStack query, you have to add it in this manner. So, okay, so first thing is you have to use it in the query client. For now, I'm going to use the cache time as infinity because the values will be the same for most of the time. And then this is advanced concept where I would have used React Native MMKV to combine React query with MMKV for offline caching. That's out of scope of this video, but still it will provide excellent caching. I have done all the proper tags at the top where I would do the HOCs here. Once all these things are done, all the libraries are installed, the query client is done, you can start using useQuery in your application or TanStack query in your application, right? So what we are going to do and how we are going to implement it. So there is two versions, V4 and V5, but V5 is the latest one. So I recommend using that. So with the help of this, what we are going to do is when the user starts typing, right? So when the user starts typing, we are going to simply, this is going to be what? Debounced input. So actually this is not debounced input, this is normal input. Okay. And then this should be fetch suggestions. So, okay, this fetch suggestions should be that. So in this one, I'm going to go here, input. We can also implement loading, like when the API is being called, it automatically handles everything. Okay, that's extremely good library. So I'm going to change this and then I'm going to use it at return places. Okay, so what I'm doing here, right? So I can also use isLoading at the top. So isLoading, right? IsLoading, take this out. And then I can simply use it here. Same way. Can go here, get this thing I always like, and use map loading text. Okay, so I think I'll go here, use it here. Okay, So what I'm doing, I will explain now. So when the user starts typing, I'm going to, I'm going to go here and then here in this one. Okay, set suggestions, no need. Okay, so when the user starts typing, I'm going to call the use query, whatever query fn, which is the query function. So whenever the input changes or whenever the input value changes, this particular function will get fired. Okay, when this particular function gets fired, the API, it will call the API, like it will call this particular function, okay, whatever the API call, and then if the values are the same as the before, or what I would say is, if the particular use query checks that, okay, so this particular thing will have the same values, will first serve from the cache so that it feels instant for the user. Okay, I can go more into this, right? It's a separate topic, but you can implement this to provide superior caching for your end users. Okay, so this, I will definitely make a video on this, or a complete series on this, on how I did this in my own production application, and then how my end users were very happy that it feels instant, right? Like before it, the API calls were slower because we load a lot of data on the app. Now when they simply open the app, all the data is there because it's already cached in the local. Okay, before what happened was they had to redo it again and again. Okay, they had to load the data again and again, but now that's not a problem. As the data is already there cached, they will see, okay, the data is already there. That 1 to 2 second perception or UX fix made a lot of difference for us. Okay, so this is how you can do it. Like like use query, what happens is it loads the first time when the component mounts. So we are going to disable it because like if the input is not there, we should not call it. This is the query key. Like the use query will check this, and then if the input changes, it automatically calls the function again and again. Okay, so it's somewhat complex, but let's keep it for another time. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to use this here, debounce, to call return places and all these things. Okay, so let's keep it this, and then set suggestions like this, set input like this. Okay, so yeah, if I simply run that, it would have worked, but yeah, and then I have to make more changes on that, but that is not the point of this video. Yeah, so I just mentioned that you can use all those techniques to make yourself stand apart as a developer by learning all these very minute concepts. Okay, that 1 second, 2 second perception fix or shift is extremely important. Now let's come to the vanilla JS or the JavaScript interview concepts on how we can do that. This is also an extra topic from here, but let's go with it, right? So now this one, I'm going to show you what is happening here. Okay, I'm going to go here. Okay, it's loading is not there. I'm going to take it up. Like, yeah. So now it's like, this looks good. So I'm going to have that there. Now, if I start typing, okay, I start typing. Let's take SAN, SAN. Okay, this is too much. You can't understand that. Okay, so I'm going to go here. Just have this as this. Okay, let's remove all these things. Okay, so if it's 2, you won't understand. So let's use new date of get time, which will get the Unix time. If you see, let's go here. SAN OSI. Okay, every time when I type right or do something, the API is getting called. That is wrong. Okay, you shouldn't do that. Why? I will tell it in the design, system design sense, which will be my next video, where I'll be going full on that. But now I will explain this. If you do this, let's say if you have 1,000, okay, let's say you have 1,000 paying users, they search this for what, 10 times a day, and then each place would be in 10 characteristics or 10 characters. Okay, so if you multiply it, okay, if it's like 10,000 users into 10, okay, which is 10, and then they try it for 5 times. This is what, 1,000, 10,000, and then 100,000, 500,000. Okay, 500,000. Sorry, my max is off. 10,000, 1 lakh and 5 lakh. Okay, yeah, 500,000. So every day you will get 5 lakh calls, 5 lakh API calls for 1,000 users itself. If they search 10 places, this is wrong. Okay, this like you will get go bankrupt. That won't work. So how to fix this, or how to make this work properly? So in order to make this work properly, we are going to introduce a concept called debouncing. This is a JavaScript concept. So I will also explain that as well along with the system design. So we are going to use a concept called debounce, where when the user stops typing after a particular interval of time, we are going to make the API fire or the function fire. There is another concept called throttling, where for a set of time, only X amount of fun like calls should happen. Okay. So let's discuss what that is and how we can implement that in React Native, or like this particular address autocomplete solution. So I'm going to go here, use this. Okay. So I'm just simply going to use this. So let's search in Google what is debounce. So debounce throttle. Yep. Let's go to Sync Fusion. Actually, I learned this like 2 years back. So let's go here. This person has entered it. So debounce and throttle. So he has done the same concept that I have done. So the concept is pretty straightforward. So okay, like first thing is, for any JavaScript interview, you should know the polyfills. Okay, so how the internals work and all these things he has done. So what is a throttle and all these things are there. Okay, so what we are going to do is, when the user starts typing, we are going to add debounce on top of this. You can either use these polyfills, or you can use something from Lodash. Either way is good. Lodash increases the bundle size, so recommend using like the polyfills. But let's use Lodash for now. So install Lodash's debounce here, only the debounce package here, and then once you do that, I'll show what I'm going to do now. So as I said, I'm going to simply call this here. This is too much, so I'm going to take this out. And then all these things are there. Take all these things out. Okay. So what I am doing here. Okay. I'm going to, in this way, I'm going to take this. I'm going to paste it here. Okay. And then this is going to be a asynchronous call. Asynchronous call. Okay. So let's see what I'm doing. When the user starts typing, I'm going to let's put this out. Okay, so when the user starts typing, the state will update, as well as it will call this particular function which has the debounce. If you are just using normal JavaScript, this will work fine. Okay, but for now it will not work. Why? So if I'm going to use this, let's say I'm going to typing. I'm typing this. You can see it is not working. Okay, it's not. Actually, there's some mistake. Okay, so if as I start typing, this is not working properly. Okay, why? What is the reason behind? I know this, right? The only reason behind this we are also updating the state. So this particular function is being re-rendered or reformed, or what I would say, re-rendered again and again. Okay, so when this particular input change, like when a state changes in a component, the whole component gets re-rendered. That's how reconciliation works in React.js. Okay, so when you change the controlled input state, whole component re-rendered. So the function also gets re-rendered. So the debounce fails. So in the debounce, in this particular thing, we are going to call the function, and then what we are going to do is, we are going to fire this function if the function is not being called in the last 1200 milliseconds or 1.2 seconds. So what is this? It's extremely confusing, right? I will explain what I'm going to do here. Let's go here. Okay, this. Okay, so let's use npm start. Okay, so let's use reload. Okay. Okay, let's use okay. Okay, so I think this is annoying. Let's go to back here. Okay, so it's bundling, no problem. So when the user starts typing, we are updating the state, and then we are also calling the function. So the purpose of debounce is, if you add any function into a debounce function, like if it's called, I think it's called IAF, it's like, but too much concepts. But if you are going to add debounce to a function, what happens is you have to provide provide milliseconds or a seconds to that. Okay, so what happens when you provide that second is, let's take, you keep on calling that function for 5 times within milliseconds, less than milliseconds, the function will not work, and it will only work if you have not invoked it for that said seconds. Okay, so this is slightly confusing, but that's how it works, right? So what happens here, like this interview concept itself is like slightly confusing, but once you learn it, like as you can see, this is a real world application and you can use it in your review as well as in your real job as well. But in React.js, it slightly differs, but than vanilla JS, because the state changes. So as the state change, like okay, for let's don't jump forward. If as we call the function and as we provided the particular milliseconds there, it will only fire after the said seconds. Like let's say you call it 1,000 times in in a second or in 1,000 milliseconds, right? It won't fire. Okay, if even if you call, it will not execute. That is the most important one. Even if you call, it will never execute until after 1,000 milliseconds, and then it will execute only for one time. Okay, that's what debounce is. Throttle is the same way. If you call the particular function 1,000 times, and then you have set the throttling limit to only 5 per 1 second, it will only call, or it will only execute the function for the first 5 times, and it will reject the other 995 times. Okay, so that's how you implement it. But this will not work in React.js because the state changes. So how do you tackle that? You tackle that with help of use callback. Okay, that's how use memo and use callback works. When I started 4 to 5 years back, it was tough for me. But how I understood is, if a state changes, the component rewrites. Nothing. That's that simple. Okay. If a single state at the top changes, the component re-renders. There is nothing you can do. The function re-renders, the component re-renders, everything re-renders. This is not a problem for small applications like this, but for bigger applications with a lot of components in a particular screen, this is very tough. So you have to add proper child components, and then you have to send components as a child itself to prevent all these things. But to get, like more in advance. But here, what I'm going to do is, I am going to put this into a use callback to memorize that function, so that it only re-renders or gets recreated when we enter something here, but we are not going to enter anything here. So when the component mounts for the first time, it will stay the same until the end of its life cycle. Once we do that, what we are going to do, we are going to remove, like comment this out, and then we are going to take this, let's put this here, and then let's see. Okay, now this should be in as usual async, and then e. Okay, now let's use that console.log to check. So console.log of one. Okay, when we do this, let's go here, let's keep on typing. I think you can see, after I type and after 1,200 milliseconds, it works. So I will tell you, right? So in this way, it should be what? New date dot get time. Okay. If I do that, so let's see. Yeah, it won't work. And now it works after 1.2 milliseconds or 1.2 seconds. Okay. With help of this, you can, crack any interview questions with where they ask debounce and throttle. If you know polyfill, then this question is out of the question, like out of the box. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this, and then I'm going to call the APIs. Right? So I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to call it. So this is wrong. So it's not going to get called. Now I'm going to call what? Santa. Okay. So you can see it worked. Now even if I do this, right, all these things, it won't get called. Now I'm going to use California, and then after, it should not be what, 2000 seconds too much. We'll use 500 milliseconds. Okay, 500 milliseconds, and still this is less than one. So now it will get called. Okay, and then when the user taps on that, we'll go to that particular place and draw the rows over that, and then zoom to user location means the same one. Okay, this is the interview question as well as a complex autocomplete question as a front-end system design one. Okay, so I learned this way back. So whenever you do this, remember it's different in Vanilla JS and different in React JS. So you have to remember that when a state changes, the component and the function re-renders. So you have to use a use callback to prevent the re-rendering or reformation of the function to increase the performance and to counteract the state change, which changes the re-renders the function itself, which negates the profits or of the debounce. So that's it. That's how you implement what I would say address autocomplete in React Native with a custom way, where you will use the Mapboxes Places API, right? So one more is, you should never use it in the front end because the API key is exposed. So you have to use it in the back end, and then you have to proxy it with some server, and then use authentic. Only if the user is authenticated, they have to sign use the call that. And then you can also cache it locally or cache it in the back end as well as you cache it in locally with use query. If you cache it in the back end, right, it will give the results way faster. Okay, because let's take, if you have the users only in California, you can just cache all the values based on the terms of service of Mapbox, and then you can serve it directly from the cache. Okay, so that's it for this video. So I hope you like this. If you like it, do comment below. So next video will be a banger about system design of Postgres. It will be a full stack video on a concept called geohashing. We'll do that.